Good morning, everyone. It's Allison from QuiltNCode with my husband behind the camera, and I am enjoying this delightful cup of coffee this morning as I share with you a new thing. I haven't done piping in gobs of years, and so I am bringing that out today, and I'm going to learn how to do it again. As you know, we are working on our Hankie challenge, and so this was my challenge to take some gorgeous handkerchiefs that were given to me by Joyce Watts and turn them into upcycled things. And so that's what we have been doing for the last several weeks with this notebook cover. It has grown and blossomed into something that was supposed to cover a composition notebook to now one that is going to be covering a 3-ring binder because, you know, as all quilting goes, it's just growing, and that's okay. We're almost done. So what I want to do today is to put some piping in here. And so let me explain to you a little bit about piping and how I got introduced to it to begin with. So when my children were young, in fact, when my daughter was young, I fell in love with smocking. And smocking is that technique that's on all these lovely little girls' dresses. And on my kids, it was also on my little boys' stuff too, because I was just addicted to it. It's a nice hand stitching technique that I could do, you know, while I was watching the kids do whatever and while they were playing and stuff. So I could do that and then turn these things into these gorgeous outfits. My daughter wore this pink dress that I have downstairs in the shop. She wore that thing out, but it's still gorgeous. So it has some stains, but if she could wear it today, she would. She just wore that thing out. Of course, she wore dresses till she was 7 years old, so she wouldn't touch pants until 7 years old. So that's where the piping, my experience from piping came from. But it has been a long, long time. My daughter's 25. Gives you a little inkling as to how long ago that was. I decided that in order to get back into this piping thing, I would I have been doing taking classes on embellishments and stuff like that. And so this book came through one of those classes by Catherine Zimmerman. She introduced me to this book, and this book is by Susan Cleveland. And if I like this today and feel like this helped me today, I will be carrying this in the shop. So it comes with, the kit comes with the piping. So I didn't need to buy any piping. I think I have some at home, but it's, you know, Google's a years old. And then it came with this fancy tool. And so now, tools are designed to make life easier. You do not need this. And when I was sewing 25 years ago, I did not need this to do gorgeous piping. But it certainly helps make things faster. And I am totally in the understanding that when I was doing piping for my daughter 25 years ago, my piping was this big. And my piping for today is going to be this big. There's no need for me to go out and get a tool when I'm only going to be doing something that's this big. And so just keep that in mind, that you can use the technique that I'm showing you today without a tool. You will definitely need the cording to go inside the piping, but you don't necessarily need the tool, okay? So what we're going to do first is we need to cut on the bias. And so before we do that, I just wanted you to see that I did add a strip down here on the bottom. I have not yet cut off my pocket, but I have trimmed this down to its 12.5 inches that it's going to need for my notebook cover. So this is also going to have to be trimmed down, and I'll do that before we sew today. I also wanted you to see that I went ahead and tacked down my pockets so that I don't have to worry about it flapping in the wind and the breeze while I am trying to get that piping in. I have anticipations that it's not going to be, I haven't done this in a while. I don't want to have to fight with extra fabric while I'm trying to learn a new skill. And then I did trim off just both edges just to make everything nice and clean so that I know what I'm dealing with, especially because this side is going to be the side that I'm getting ready to stitch this is where I want my piping to go. And so I just wanted to clean that edge up. So I'm going to put this baby over here. until we need it. And I'm going to bring out, I am running out of the colors that I had chosen for this project in my scraps. And so I am going to use, this seemed to be like a big enough piece that I could get a nice, I don't want too many seams in it. And so this seemed like it would be a nice enough piece that I could do that. I need to do this on the bias, okay? And this is a very small piece to demonstrate that on. So I just want to show you how I do that. All rulers, most rulers, 95% of rulers are going to come with a 45-degree angle. And that 45-degree angle on your, that's a 60, your 45-degree angle. My husband's just giggling and right, some geometry required. So here, let me see if I can show you that my 45-degree angle is there, but this one gives me a 62. But like even this one has a 60 and a 60 and a 45. That's the one I'm looking for. I want that 45-degree angle. And then I know that I'm on my grain when I cut this fabric, so I'm good. And then what I do is, see, I've already cut one piece just so you could see what I'm doing. So what I do is I line that 45-degree angle up on my horizontal line here. And I went ahead and I need 1¼ inch strips. Okay. And so I went ahead and lined up so that I'm right on the corner there with my 1½. And then I went ahead and cut. And now that I have my 45-degree angle, I can turn this around and simply cut my 1¼ inch strips. And so I only need 12 inches. So I'm kind of thinking I only need 2 strips. I mean, I might be totally wrong. And then I'm going to put them together just like I would do binding.
Why does it have to be on the bias?
Why does it have to be on the bias? Because most of the time when you're working with piping, you want to be able to turn and manipulate that piping really well. And this eliminates any of that like stretch and stuff. Now, I'm just doing a straight line. I probably could have gone on the straight of grain and not had many problems. The other thing is I'm only going this far. But let's do it right, just so that you can see that really piping needs to be on the bias, because a lot of piping you could use in like flower decorating or going around curves really nicely. It makes everything pop right out. In fact, oh my gosh, that gives me an idea for Thursday. Okay, so and Lenny's like, stay on task, stay on task. So so I think I'm going to have plenty here to get my 12½. And you can see I really am trying to get it so that I only have as long a piece as I can possibly get. You go over there. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together just as I would a binding. See if I can get thing over here. And I really did enjoy reading the book. Okay, wait a minute. Let me show you this. Okay, so I want to put it so that it's 45 degrees. And if I put it this way, look how gorgeous those pieces line right up. Okay, so that means that I know I want to do my 45-degree go in that direction. Okay. And I'm big on messing those 45-degree angles up when I'm doing my, so my pen's in here somewhere, or it's not. Maybe my pen is in my other bag. Everything got shifted when we did our night the other night. So, okay. So I'm okay. I'm not going to need it. So that's how I love how that's lining right up with that. So that's how I want to stitch my line. Move you over just a little bit. Okay, so I am going to go back to the center position of my needle. That way I am not off. I had it on the 1/4 inch earlier, or actually I had it even further over. I was trying to get all my stuff prepped and ready to go. And so I have this at a 90-degree angle. So you can see my 90-degree angle in there. And then I'm going to stitch across here. The reason why I know I'm doing it right is because my small little tails are on the inside. And then I'm just going to go right across. I don't have any problems eyeballing it anymore. Normally I would mark it just so you could see it, but I don't have any problems eyeballing it anymore. And so now I've got a nice long strip. And I can, hopefully my scissors are in here. I don't know where anything is. Good thing I have a rotary cutter. And I am going to open this seam. That way there's less bulk. If I have an open seam, there is less bulk when going through the machine, when doing everything. Okay, so that gets me a nice long piece. And all my little things are going in the right direction. I mean, like I just didn't even plan that. So I am going to use this piping now. This is a nylon piping, and really I should have steamed it first. Okay, so yeah, should have steamed it first, and am not. So just keep that in mind that you really should steam your piping before you get this started. But I can always go back, and when I'm done here, I can go downstairs and steam it. This iron doesn't have any water in it right now, so it's not doing any steam. All right, so the book is wonderful. It tells you what feet to use, if you don't have this foot, use this foot. If you have this, do this. And if you don't have a way, because you really need to be able to reposition your needle. And so if you cannot reposition your needle, it also gives you a reason, a way to do that using sticky notes and tape. And so I luckily can move my needle. I did go through all of my feet. Believe it or not, you may have a piping foot or a foot with a groove in it that is explained in the book. I do not, but she gives directions on how to use my zipper foot. And so I have pulled out my zipper foot, which is how I did it 20 years ago. I used to use the zipper foot. And so if you'll see, the zipper foot has the grooves on either side. I want to do this on the left-hand side. So I'm going to put it on my left-hand side, just like this. And so let me get my camera over here so that you can see how I have put. Now, some people don't have the option to put your zipper foot on another side. So I could put it on this side, or I can put it on this side. Okay, I am putting it on this side. And if you don't have that option, she explains all that in the book. Okay. And, you will adapt. You'll figure this out. This isn't hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold my my bias in half here. Try not to stretch. Now that it's bias, it will stretch. And so I am going to fold that just to get it started here for me. Okay. And then I want to put, this was a cool thing I didn't do when I was younger. They say put a knot at the end right there of your piping so it doesn't go through. How smart is that? Okay, cool. So now what I'm trying to do is I want to move my needle over. This is over as far as it can go. I don't want it over as far as it can go. I want it probably there. Okay, the reason why is so that I can get it tighter when I put it into my project. And you won't see those stitches that I'm getting ready to put in. Yes?
Hard to see the needle moving left or right.
Yeah, so the needle moves. When I do that, it can move.
Okay, but which way are you moving it?
Oh, I'm moving it over so that it will be closer to, I'm moving it that direction so that it'll be closer to the thing. But then I was like, okay, I don't want it that far because I want to be able to, in fact, I'm looking at the needle and it's like, okay, no, I don't really want it that far even. Because I have all this bulk that's getting ready to go into the in between this. And so remember, I haven't done this in a while. So, and you guys are always my guinea pigs to find out if I can even do this right. Okay, so I am sticking I may not have cut myself enough. Might not have cut myself enough piping.
Yourself, what, 14 inches? That's the width of your...
12 and a half. So, and I can see now, I don't know if you can get in there closer. Okay, do you see how, you can't. So I'm gonna put my needle down. Okay, that is awfully close. In fact, I think I will actually grab piping. So I'm moving my needle over just a little bit further. And then now that is just a little too far. So I'm gonna move my needle over again. And now I can sort of see that I'm gonna be making a nice little casing for my piping, okay? And so sometimes you just have to play and see what works best. All right, so I am going to I'm trying not to stretch my fabric. Bias is really easy to stretch, so don't stretch your fabric, just sort of hold it in place. And then I probably want to slow down. My mother would just say, oh, just use your foot. You can slow it down with your foot. But I can also slow it down on my machine with the bar, and I'm just going to slow it down. And so now I'm just watching to make sure that I am keeping my bias and my thing in there as far as I can get it. And I'm trying to keep my bias equal. And then once I get good at this again, it won't take long. Once I get good at this again, then I'll remember my settings, or I'll write down my settings so that I know what settings. In fact, I'm sitting here going, okay, no, probably needed to move that needle over just a little bit further. And then the other thing that with piping is that I really probably should be using some sort of green thread so that it's not really showing. You kind of want it to hide. Get in there. Probably should have cut somewhere. It's all good. So the nice thing about the book is it explains how if you wanted to use this piping on like borders or for enhancements of your quilt border, it tells you how to do that. See if I want to. I might need to do it again because I don't have enough piping. Come on, you. Get my camera out of the way. So, oh, it's up there. Other machine. Okay, so let me see if I have enough here. Barely. I have barely enough. Okay, it works. For my very first time doing it in 20 years, yeah, it works. So I am going to, I'm slipping my thing out here. I'm going to cut that off and see if I can dig in here and get it. Yeah, see, and next time I'll use a lot more piping, and so I think I'm going to do that. So we will end. I think I want to go in just another hair because I think that would have worked better anyway. I hope everybody had a really good Easter. I lazed around. I had all these plans to sew. I played piano though. I did do a lot of practicing. I just don't understand people who don't have hobbies, man. I have so many hobbies, I don't know where to start. Come on, come on. There she goes.
What is it you're doing right now?
All I'm doing is ripping that out. It's called my fabric eraser. Can start over again and do this all again. I feel like I don't even, I'm just barely there. Oh, I don't like it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do then. I am not only going to increase my piping, but because I cut that off, I don't feel like I have enough, I'm going to stitch again. So okay, wait a minute. Let's make sure we're going all in the same direction. Yeah, we are. See, y'all are learning. Use more than you think you will need. I found all our seam rippers.
Stole them all upstairs.
I did. I stole them all upstairs.
We have what, 25 or so?
Yeah, something like that. Quite a few. Quite a few. And yet we can never find any. It's just like when I was homeschooling and we could never find a pencil. It's like, how can we never? I mean, like every time I went shopping, I got pencils. How could you never find a pencil?
And then the ones you found never had erasers.
And they never have erasers. Still, to this day, they don't have erasers. Still, to this day, they don't have erasers.
See, if this was a regular, recorded video you had done, we could just fast forward through this part.
I apologize. I apologize. This is what me messing up looks like. Okay. Just get a little bit of start here. It's nice and warm, so I'm like, okay, I can get a little bit of a start here and getting it folded. There we go. Okay, and this time I'm not even cutting that piping.
Is there a reason you don't press it?
I don't know that I really want a crease there. And so that is my own preference, but maybe it would be easier if I did have a crease there. So I do like this whole knotting thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and knot it. And, oh wait, let me get ready with my camera and change this out. There we go. Find my knot. Trust me, this is so worth it. You're gonna love this. Camera's not in the right place. Okay, let me get set up and I'll get the camera in the right place. Better? Okay, excellent. Okay, I am gonna move you over because I think I will be happier. Yep, I'll be happier. Okay, take 2. Here we go. So this is the type of project that is perfect for trying these little things to make sure that you know what you're doing before you go and try it on a quilt or on a bigger project. And when I do these things, I like to do them 3 or 4 times, put them in 3 or 4 projects so that I can sort of really get it down by about the 4th project. You know, it's like 3 times right. Same thing goes for piano. I was learning a new piece yesterday, and I'm sure that the family enjoyed listening to me play the same 2 measures over and over and over and over and over again. Once I can get them 3 times right in a row, I know I have it. Of course, then I add on another measure and have to do it all over again. At least with quilting, I don't have to do, you know, a gazillion quilts before I get it right. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees here today, and then it's supposed to snow on Thursday. We're trying to figure out how all that's going to happen, but watching all the tornadoes and stuff that happened in the middle of the country this week, I know it's coming. All right, much better. I have a few threads here. Ignore those. Those are simply from my mess up. Okay, that looks so much better. Okay, now let me show you how to put it into our project. Oopsie. There you go. So now you can see how it's got that nice little bit in there. Okay, so let's put it into the project. Whee! Okay. Oh, first I have to show you how to use the actual fancy dancy tool that, you know, you don't really need. I mean, I mean, like, if you're going to do this a lot, then, oh my gosh, yes, you need this. If this is, you know, something, it's a one-off that you're doing, you're okay just getting some piping and going with this. So what happens with this tool is it has a nice little groove right in here, and you put that groove, shift the camera, gotcha. Okay, so you put this groove right here inside that piping, okay? And then that just holds it right there in place, although I need to do it this way, okay? So I need to start at this end, right there. Okay, and so all my piping is right there in the center, and then I can trim either to a 1/2 inch if I'm doing, you know, if I want a larger, or I can trim it to the 1/4 inch. Since I'm doing the smaller, I'm doing the 1/4 inch.
2 sides of the tool?
Yes, through for the 1/4 inch and one side, and then all I have to do is move this and stick it back in that groove. And so let me show you what it would look like if I were trying to do it with my, so you can sort of see how now I have to like line up my 1/4 inch. Everything is sort of wonky because you've got that piece in the middle. And so it does make it easier. And I have heard that people can like trim this sucker down in seconds, you know, that have done this before, but I have not. So seconds is not what's happening. But if I wanted to do something like, I'll show you, like these are the pipings that you can put into quilts and that type of thing. It just gives this really cool effect on your quilt. So if you are thinking about some easy way to enhance your quilts, it's just, and when we were at the shows and we were getting ready to go to another one, when we were at the shows, I mean, they're everywhere. Like those, they're everywhere. Okay. So now I want to go ahead and trim this down because I know that I don't need this much fabric down here on the end. My length is 12 and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. And so I am lining up actually with the vertical here, the horizontal here. So I'm making sure everything is lined up. I'm also lining up over here with my ruler so that I am on a 1/2 inch there and a 1/2 inch there so that everybody's lining up. And now we're going to take this piece and we're going to put this guy on the inside because we want it to show. Okay. And since I have so much now, I can actually lay it up like that. And then I can lay that piece like that. You're seeing the inside of my work. Every quilter hates that. And I pin things when I'm going into as I'm going into the machine. And so, not with that one, I'm not. So I'm going to pin it just like this so that I can pull those pins as I go through. And I'm double checking that I have all my layers. Just like that. I sure hope this turns out the way I want it to. Everything else has on this project, so either that means it's going to go horribly, terribly wrong, or it's going to look really cool and give it just an extra little pizzazz. All right, so I'm making sure that I line up all my raw edges. So the raw edge for the piping, the raw edge for both fabrics, and then the piping is sandwiched smack dab in the middle. All right, and I'm going to keep my zipper foot on. Because I want that piping. Ooh, yes, I'm okay. I'm okay. Right? I'm okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I want to keep that piping with that groove. Yep. Moving the camera. Let me see if I can put it on this way. So I want my piping to remain in that groove. And I'm just going to do a little hand wheel here just to, in fact, I'm going backwards and forwards just a little bit just to make sure everything's moving. Sometimes when you're starting on the very edge of your fabric, stuff gets stuck down there in that the feed dogs. And so just take it really slow and let your hand wheel, hand wheels are good. Use your hand wheel. And so this allows me to sort of see. And I've got a lot of bulk here. So I'm going to lift that up. There we go. And you can see how I like those pins being, because then I'm not having to, I know I've got all my layers. So I've really enjoyed pinning that way. I'm also feeling for my piping as well down here. I'm feeling all sorts of stuff. I'm feeling lace. I'm feeling all sorts of, there's a lot of bulk. So we'll see how this turns out. It's going to turn out gorgeous. It's going to be beautiful, just the way I plan it. I hope. All right, moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted. I just wanted this little bit of extra. Yay, it worked just the way I wanted it to. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I am sure I've like kept you for 3 hours. Oh no, it's not been that bad. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, wow, okay, I just want to admire my work for just a second. Wow, okay, that is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put on that yellow piece that's going to go down the spine of my book. And so I want to put that here, okay? But I feel like I'm just a tad bit big and I have like, quite a bit of green here. So let's just look at it. Wow. Okay. See, piping may be in Thursdays as well, just because, I haven't done this technique in a long time. And yeah. Okay, so I am quite a bit over, and so I think what I want to do, because I can only take so much off of this side, and I really don't want to take that much off that side. So I think I am gonna try and take off about a half an inch over here, and that'll get rid of that little piece, and yeah, it'll make it look a little bit better and give us a little bit more room. So I am gonna just trim a little bit off over here, leaving enough for my seam allowance and stuff. And then if I feel like I need to take in a little bit more, I can always make my seam allowance just a little bit larger later, okay? And so, but that will give us the spine. And then I have no idea what I'm doing for the back because I've been concentrating so much on the front. I think the back is it's gonna come together. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna take off, let me see, I wanna take off 3/4 of an inch. That will leave me plenty for seam allowance and so I am going now. Before I have left this the way it is because I have it nice and basted down the side. I'm getting ready to take off that basting. Wait until the last possible moment to do this. And so I know I'm getting ready to stitch this back in. I don't want any of my tatting or my lace to start coming undone. And so, because once it comes undone, you know how that is. Of course, I've, already stitched stuff down, so it's a little bit extra secure, but wait until the last possible moment to do this is what I'm trying to say. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to add this piece on. Okay, so now I have to decide, okay, is this the right side up? Or is that, don't laugh, or is that the right side up? Okay, this is the right side up, I think. Works for me. So I'm going to place that right there on the edge right there. And I am not worried about it being over the edge or anything. I mean, I could probably save some fabric if I do this. It would probably be best. I mean, that could probably go on the back somewhere. And then I could keep some of that fabric. I mean, yeah, I have to like seriously take stock of the fabrics that I've used and figure out how I can work those in there. And of course I did that upside down. No worries. We'll go this direction, which means all my pins are wrong. Stop laughing at me.
Yesterday off, it's like Monday.
Yes, it is. I got lots of planning done yesterday though, so it was great. I'm going to switch back to my regular foot. And we'll do this part and call it a day, man. How successful is that? I can reposition the camera. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. Still low. There we go. So we're going to have one of those cameras like they have on the news where it just sort of moves in by robot, and it's going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. Got to move back over to my 1/4 inch here. Probably can speed up a little bit now that I am more comfortable with what I'm doing, I think. I am so glad you have joined me for this design process. I promise this notebook is almost done. I already have people asking me if I have a pattern, and it's like, are you kidding me? Y'all are funny.
Do they have the hankies to use?
Right? Well, Linda Ford came in with all her hankies, and she's like, what do I do with these? And I was like, are you serious? Like, are you watching? Like, I don't know. From 1 week to the next, I don't know what I'm doing. So, all right, let's take a look. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me bring this around here. Look at that. We're going to call it a day. I'm going to drink a little bit more coffee. I'm going to go down and get some work done. I've had an awesome time being able to play today. If you have enjoyed watching this process, I have been using today the Piping Hot Binding book and kit that came with the, I don't know where it must be on the floor, with the piping and the Piping Hot tool. And so this will make things a lot easier if I'm doing lots and lots and lots of big projects, which I intend to do not too far off in the future. But this was a great start for me to say, yes, this is, oh my gosh, this is just definitely, I really want to start adding this little element into all my projects. And so I really hope you've enjoyed watching the process today of learning again how to do piping. And join us next generous on Thursday. We have 2 things happening on Thursday. Thursday morning, I'm taking a trip off of Wonderlane and going to do a little applique project to sort of introduce our spring mini that's coming in just a couple weeks. And on Thursday evening, we're having a flash sale for our kits online, totally online. And so we have tons of stuff to show you. And so join us at 6 o'clock on Thursday, 12 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and then 6 o'clock on Thursday evening. And we'll have tons of fun. If you've enjoyed this, please be sure that you're sharing it, you're liking it, you're commenting, you're doing all that other social media stuff that I can never remember to do. And I really hope that you will pass the word along of what we're doing. And hopefully next week we will actually finish this gorgeous project. At least we'll get to the back. Lenny's like, yeah, this is never going to end. Yes, it will. It's going to get to the back. And then at that point in time, we're putting a notebook together. So anyway, we will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Go and drink your beverage of choice. That's what I intend to do. And unfortunately, I have to go back to work. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.